We're going to begin this half hour with that question about what the future holds for women in this Catholic Church. Maria Shriver is one of the more than 30 million Catholic women in the United States alone. Maria, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Matt. Well, people all over the world are incredibly excited, as we know, about this Pope, and perhaps no group is more hopeful than Catholic women. Catholic women, and nuns in particular, have long run the parish schools, the hospitals, and they have cared for the sick and the poor. But as we all know, they cannot be ordained, they cannot say Mass, and they cannot vote for the Pope. Now millions of women think it's time for the hierarchy of this church to open its eyes to the reality of what women can and should be allowed to do.
The woman's issue is a big one because they feel that they are made invisible by the church.
Sister Joan Chittister is a Benedictine nun from Erie, Pennsylvania.
I really want those questions of ordination, of participation, of inclusiveness. I want them to be very high on the church agenda. We can't ignore them much longer.
The call for healing and unity resonates for many who are hoping this Pope has the courage to reform the church from the inside out and include many who have felt marginalized.
I have a staff of mostly Catholics, only 2 actually practice. A number of them have gone to some of the Christian churches.
Sister Jennifer Gaeta is a nun who works with the poor in Los Angeles.
The Christian churches meet their social needs, their real needs. And I think the Catholic Church has become too much about maintaining the structure.
America is a deeply spiritual nation, and many who work in the field say the church better open up or risk losing its faithful. Marianne Williamson and Rabbi David Volpe are on the front lines.
Everybody is watching this transition in Rome with bated breath. How will they handle women? How will they handle past sexual abuses? How will they handle divorced Catholics, gays? Are you hearing people talking about that in your pews as well?
Anybody who's done any work in the developing world knows the Catholic Church does remarkable things, but he also would have seen a systematic violation of what it is that the Church stands for, and people crying out and not being heard.
What do you think the kind of large evangelical churches have been able to do that the Catholic Church has not been able to do?
They actually talk about God's action and principles in people's lives.
Already, Pope Francis's emphasis on simplicity, poverty, and forgiveness seems to resonate with people hungry for leadership and change.
What is your best dream for what the church can become?
That there will be women in governance of the church.
While much of the world waits to see what Pope Francis does, one woman who already works in the Vatican believes all of us would do best to worry less about defined roles. Sister Judith Zobelin is one of the highest-ranking women at the Vatican.
Do you think that people miss the point when they're saying women aren't equal unless they're ordained?
Why should I have to take on a man's role in order to be a good woman?
You know, in the United States, we often talk about the glass ceiling for women professionally. Is there a stained glass ceiling?
I don't see a ceiling. I see trying to become more and more who I am as a woman, as a religious, as a person dedicated to the church in that way. And I don't see that there's a ceiling on that.
I love that she said she doesn't see that there's a ceiling. It reminded me of a comment my dad made many years ago when he was in Alzheimer's. And he said to me, if you want to get eternal, you got to go internal.
Not bad. Well said.